lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́ làbẹ́wé kúkú dùkú lóko Postponement International wọ́n ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ látìgbà tí wọ́n ti ń bàbọ̀ wọn ò fìgbà kan tẹ́rì o wọ́n ti wá ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbé bẹ̀bẹ̀ dé Postponement Cinema ni wọ́n tún gbé dé Postponement Cinema lórí YouTube ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn kẹ́ ẹ subscribe ibẹ̀ lẹ́tì mọ̀ wọ àwọn àjẹ́ àbálẹ̀ fíìmù ẹ̀dọ̀kí fíìmù tó léfò gan tààrà Postponement Cinema mo bẹ́rí fún yín fíìmù mẹ́sàn-án ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wọ́n kó jáde o àwọn gbàǹkọ́gbé fíìmù èkíní májẹ̀mú ẹ̀gbọ́n èkejì my wet ẹ̀kẹta ọmọ ẹni ẹ̀kẹrin àlàmú èkó ẹ̀karùn-ún àìmọ̀ ṣe wá rí pé nǹkan kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ràgó ó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ eléyìí lẹ́ti kẹjù èdè Yorùbá ni wọ́n fi ṣe àwọn fíìmù yìí ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹfà sẹ́ẹ̀kẹsàn-án èdè òyìnbó ni wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀kẹfà tẹ́mà èkeje the casting ẹ̀kẹjọ M1 the detective ẹ̀kẹsàn 100 M1 the detective at 100 orí síríìsì lẹ́fì máa wò ó ìyẹn dàgbéléwò nìyẹn Postponement International Postponement Cinema ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn lórí YouTube wọ́n wà lórí Facebook wọ́n wà lórí Instagram Postponement Cinema ó ti dọbẹ̀ ẹ subscribe.
Good evening and welcome to today's program, Matters Arising. We're looking at the Nigerian population census that's just been cancelled. And we're also looking at Yoruba nationals that have been stranded in the ongoing conflict in Sudan. So I'm not alone today. I've got my regular co-host, Baba Ajala, with me, which is going to come on board. Baba Ajala, welcome to today's program.
Thank you for having me again today. And we hope to be able to put some meat into some of your doubts about what is happening around us, particularly in Nigeria and the rest of Africa.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Population census. It's been a hot potato. Up to yesterday, somebody did a video and sent to me and said, please, we need to make sure this video goes viral. We need to do everything we can to cancel the Nigerian population census. And in me, I have said Yoruba should do everything to resist that population census. But sometimes these things are just difficult to handle. But thank God, the population census has now been cancelled. So we're going to talk about it, what it means, what the population census means, and what it means as a people in Nigeria, and then for us, especially in Yoruba land. Over to you, Baba Jala.
Thank you for having me again today. And I would say the population census matters have always been a very topical concern to me. Having studied the population of the growth of Africa from a long time and being somebody who was interested in demography and the growth of nations from way back, I will just quickly say the population census in Nigeria had been bold since 1922. The first population census was compromised in 1922. This was because, as the Economist surmised about 2 or 3 years ago in their summary, in a summary of a book they called Seriously Ridiculous, they said population in Nigeria is used as a tool to get over the others in terms of the ethnic nationalities that are composed in Nigeria, so that they can get more of the revenue from the center. So there's never been, right from 1922, after Lugard left, any clear population estimate that was true to the facts on the ground. It has always been a guesstimate. Always being not very true to the actual.
Is it guesstimate they are using, or
the guesstimate itself is boosted up.
Okay, so that's wrong information they're trying to pass. Yeah. Now, I want to come to.
If I want to add a little bit, in the north, And in the south, most of in the Yoruba land, we tend not to want our children to be counted, which is a traditional philosophy. And Kalmo,
Oh, that's true.
so during that time, because I grew up into that kind of situation way back in the 50s, there was a census in 51, but I don't know about that. There's another census in 1961. That was the 51 and 61 was agreed to be the same figure because there was a disagreement also even just after independence. So we haven't really had
A
proper
proper census.
until we break up so that each area counts itself to be able to develop its own people according to the strength of its people. We will never ever have even a guesstimated population value of Nigeria.
Because it brings me to at the moment they say our population is around 200 million. How they came about that figure, I don't know.
Well, there's some estimates of what to call population ratio or estimations, which a professor of geography, late Professor Bayo Filani. Oh my God, late Professor Bayo Filani. I happen to be close to him because of this interest in what happened to him again during the census that was supposed to be taken in 1981 or so, or 1981. It was the federal government, either 1981 or 1971. The federal government wanted an expert in demographic analysis. When they went to the United Nations, they said, the best person for it is in your country. Why don't you use him? Professor Bayo Filani, late brother memory. And he was somebody who should have not have passed on it for this fact that the country, that's a different.
Always looks at, we always look at our bread and butter outside rather than looking at.
There are many incidents that I can start mentioning because I'm witness to them.
Yeah.
I have grown up to see all the faults and the fault lines within the entity called Nigeria, and why I've always advocated that it has to be dissolved. And one of it is about this population issue. Then when they got there, they were told to go back and employ Professor Bayofil, and he was still not employed. They got somebody else, I don't remember who. See, we have always been an architect of our own self-destruction, and the Yorubas have always refused to see the light. We live in darkness while the light is just ahead of us to tell us that we should not be part of this mess called Nigeria. We had the best.
I even want to
hold on. Even the issue of this forestry development. The best person for it was in Onireke. I was a Yoruba man, but when they went to Finland, where the forestry is one of the key things in their country, the man they found was said, "Oh, my master is in Onireke. He's in Ibadan in your country. He's my teacher. Why don't you use him?" So I'm going to start mentioning all these things. We have sat down to absorb this insult for too long. And now this is the population where Ibadan, at 1947, the map of the West African map of West Africa, and Ibadan was there, that my dad used, showed that Ibadan was 1 million as at that time.
I was going to say, because in the population census Lugard did in 1915, 1916, Ibadan was estimated to be about 1 million, and which was one of the most populous places.
Black, yes.
Yeah, and even in Africa.
Yeah.
And then today, Kano has a population that is 10 times bigger than Ibadan. So
anyway, that is the discussion, and that's one of my so-called political associates who happens to be a Yoruba person. He's still telling me that Ibadan is about 2 million. I said, for God's sake, are you blind?
For 100 years, they are telling me Ibadan population has been decreasing.
Static. When we know that Ibadan is still expanding it to places that are villages like Akoro, every place is opened up.
And Lagos, Lagos situation has just been unfortunate because as at that time, Lagos population was manageable, was less than 200,000.
Exactly.
And today, Lagos is, I don't know of any city that's more, but I would say Lagos is the most populous city in Africa.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Lagos is the most populous city. We are having a problem with your video, Baba Jala, but we're hearing you loud and clear, so we would accept that for today. Lagos is, so Lagos, we could agree that maybe probably because of being the capital city, a lot of people settled in Lagos, a lot of people, and part of Ogun State was given to Lagos State. Now, let's look at the cancellation because this government was hell-bent on doing the census. It's just I couldn't find the video. We could have played it. And one of the reasons that I knew they were going to cancel it anyway, when one of the officials said they are going to go back to the United Nations to give them materials because the materials they were hoping the internet or something was not working and they cannot train the people. And some people are of the opinion that they've paid the Buhari government to conduct a census, which they failed to. What is data security as relates to census, as relate to taking the actual process of taking a census? Because it's not just taking a data. How do you protect that data? Because the data must be secure. And it doesn't seem like we have control of our own data. Because if the United Nations is to be giving us money to go and conduct census, then the United Nations can also ask, we want to have all those data of your citizens. So where does the national government stand when it comes to data security of its citizens vis-a-vis census and housing process?
Well, when you talk about demography and geospatial distribution, you need to be able to assess physically and see physically those who are present in those places that you are mentioning. I have here in London of the census program in Nigeria. This guy happened to have lived in Jos, and anybody who was a census officer must be a Northerner. So he had to change his name to be able to get that job because he needed the money. And it was part of the money he added to his escape from that country called Nigeria. And when he was doing the census, when he gets to a household, he'll be given a chair and a table and sits in the front, and the malam will come out and say, there's a list of all those inside my household.
Yeah.
And a long list, you will never see any one of them to really physically identify this name to that person. There is some household he had to write down, not count, write down 50 names without seeing anyone. And if he looks at that, the building, it's not a building that could take up to about 20 or 30 people. So he was so frustrated that each time he took census material to a place, he always exhausts them before he can go to the next place because he was just writing names
of that, whether he can see or can't see.
People he doesn't even see. The best is he sees the malama and a son, and sometimes he sees the malama and maybe one of the wives
people, and maybe the animals in the background.
And unfortunately, we Yorubas are so, I would say, stupid. I was growing up to hear our people say, Tajateron nonka. Then if they are Tajateron, why do you want to be in the same country with them, for God's sake? These elderly men who are my friends, Tajateron nonka long when you're simbe, then why are we in the same country? And you did it, if I can't, you can't come on, and come on, follow more. You remember that Yoruba philosophy?
Yeah, I remember very vividly. Yoruba has some funny ideologies. Only God will save us. But my concern regarding that census, which I had a problem with, was the Minister for Communication, Pantani, is a terrorist sympathizer. So we don't know what they're going to do with everybody's data. When they know your house, they know your phone number, they know your international passport number, they know your name, they know everything. So they have all your details. And this is a country that has insecurity as its greatest challenge. And so they're not trying to help. And then thirdly, Buhari is leaving office. Why is he in a hurry at the 12th hour, not even the 11th hour, at the 12th hour to conduct a census? You ask that, what is going on here? Why is this man so desperate to conduct a census when he's leaving power? So for me, a lot of things didn't stack up.
Add, if we really are a country, that census should have been conducted in 2021 and maybe spilling over to 2022, not 2023. It's out of date already. And the next census should be 30.
Yeah, no, the last one they did was in 2006 when
Obasanjo a wrong date.
Yeah.
You see, it's not following the sequence and the flow of census analysis for nations. We have
exactly because you want to do it at the beginning of the decade. You want to do it at the beginning of the decade.
1932, 1942, 1952, 1962, and on and on. It's a 10-yearly cycle, but we have never obeyed it. So you don't even in 1964, the newspaper, the magazine called Newsweek had, I think, April of that year, of 1994, they published an article saying that the map of Africa shows that the most populous area of Africa is in the western zone where the Yoruba people are, and that they have cities and towns spread all over the place. Even if I want to quote also Paul Tafa, when he was governor in Western State, when he was touring Western State, when they got just nearly halfway, he said, haven't you gone through the whole of Western State? Then he was told, no, sir, you've just gone almost halfway. They said, then you are too many. That was Paul Tafa. You see, people should remember him. He was the governor in Western State at the time. I think maybe after Rotimi or before Rotimi.
Yeah, so
mark that. And if I will give you an estimate of just better spread of people in Western Nigeria, you have that if you travel every 9 miles you travel in the Yoruba land, you find a town or a branch to a town every 9 miles. Test it. Anytime you travel.
No, you're right. But now I want to say something, Baba Jala. Could our state governors not conduct census now for their locality to know people who are in their state? Why wait for the federal government to conduct a census? I'm sure the state governors can do something. I know Lagos State government updates their record with this LASRA, Lagos State residential whatever.
There's a way to do it by state. You see, most of these things are very simple to do. It's not rocket science. You start from the village. You have a record. It's just like land matters too, because sort of all these things are related. Land matters and census and people. Not land use decree. That one is anathema to development anyway. From that, you find a record. You can use your young men and women in school to collect this data. This part of what and it's very simple. Have all the material. It may not be electronic. Let it be on paper, and then you now convert into electronic data, and then you can see the physical material that has been used, and everyone labeled and numbered. It's appropriately from village even from the farm, just because there are some of our farmers who have houses in the towns and in the farm and don't come to the city most of the time because they're always there. You go start from there until you move.
I mean, even them, infrastructure could be built for them
into special quarters whereby you count a block and then you add it up and another block, you merge it. It's just like you merge everything together and then you get the correct answer. A state government can do it by claiming that it wants to plan for its people and that it wants to know the number of persons. The state government has the right to do that. It's not. It's not.
I'm going to come to. Census. Yeah. We don't have much time. I would have loved for us to really spend a lot of time on this census matter, but I'm sure we've not heard the last from it because the incoming government is going to want to take it up, and we want to take them up. In my own, I'm of the opinion that the self-determination struggle should come up with a way of conducting our own census to really drive home our agenda of meeting the needs of our people so that it's a Yoruba collective census. But I would like us to go quickly to Sudan, not particularly on the war, but on the rescue mission
the refugee factor.
Foreign nationals. We see the British, the Americans, the Saudis, and several other people evacuating their citizens. But the story for Nigeria and especially Yoruba has been different. There's a video that's been trending since yesterday, which I'm just going to play. We'll listen to that video and maybe have some few minutes to discuss what our people could do in terms of the rescue mission.
And explain to us what the plans are. This part of what they told us. On Wednesday, 10 vehicles will take off in the morning. Between after 2, 3, another set of vehicles at evening will take off. That will be amounting to 20 vehicles. The following day, which is Thursday, another batch of 10 vehicles.
Yesterday.
Right? Another 10 will take off. And by the evening of Thursday, everybody will have been packed from me. However, since that time, up to the moment, the only set of vehicles that have passed, that have gone, is all we knew. No information, no other vehicles. There have been different conflicting information. We don't know which of them we can hold on. Now, when it got to this place, this situation, individual states, individual school, parents of different students in some universities, for example, Arazi University, the parents of the students studying there arranged and they are planning to take their children.
Borno.
We had also Borno State, their government paid and tried to take their children. We the Yorubas, we don't know who to talk to. We the Yorubas, we don't know who to help, except God. Now we are using this medium to talk to our elders, to the state governors of all the Yoruba states. We need at least 3 vehicles to evacuate us as Yoruba here. We can't stay longer than this. We cannot stay longer than this. We cannot stay longer than this. It's not safe for our children. We have among our women, those who are pregnant. We have among our women, those who have 2 weeks old. We have those children with different health situations. As we are, there's no food being provided. Okay, that's our responsibility. But every day the day goes by, every now and then that it went on, they are getting rid of all the money that we have gotten for the travel. Some of us have sold some of our properties with the hope that we're going back to the country. It's the worst situation. We don't know whether it will end soon or it will take long. Now, I'm pleading to all the Yoruba leaders, all the Yoruba elders that will be watching this video, that please come to our head. We only need 3 buses that can take the Yoruba students and Yoruba community out of this place to Egypt. And from there, the embassy can complete their processes. I'm pleading and pleading and pleading again. Please save our Yoruba people. Save our children. People of other states have been taken.
Now, this is the thing. I know you mentioned Borno and some other states. Now, if you're holding, I presume, a Nigerian passport, would they say you are not Nigerian and you cannot enter that bus? That's a separate matter.
No, it's
What,
not.
what are the governors doing?
Let me tell you, it's not. It's not. Our people still believe they are Nigerians, and they expect the federal government to come and rescue them.
Yeah.
But the people in the north don't say they are Nigerians. They are either from Borno or Sokoto and others. That's the difference. And that's why the government in the south also think that since they are Nigerians, the federal government should rescue them. But the federal government does not see it that way. But we see it that way. That's the foolishness of the Yoruba race that I've always been saying. We believe so much in a country that is destroying our future.
Yeah, because he didn't mention his name, and he was very clear that it's the Yoruba people that have been left behind. Now, they needed three buses. Why is it difficult to get 3 buses for them? Is it the money or the government? Or the government has not made a proactive, because he called the Yoruba government. Now, is it Ekiti that will say, oh, I want to do, or, and I know they have Southwestern Governors Forum. Do they not discuss these things to say, how do we help our people out of the quagmire? Because they should have known that there's crisis in Sudan. So there's supposed to be a serious coordination. Do they need to be reminded, or are they lacking in their sense of responsibility?
It's not that they are lacking in the sense of responsibility, because they just don't see it. That's the truth I just said. Because they expect those people in Sudan, in quote, they are Nigerians. But
so they expect the Nigerian government to go for them.
That is the federal government that, to them, are responsible to Nigerians outside Nigeria, because they don't have ambassadorial distance. But the North does not see that process that way. Like I said.
So what could they do? Those who
now
are
that they are aware now, they should collectively, the certain governors should now collectively decide to rescue your people of Yoruba origin, which it applies, and it indicates to the fact that there's no commonality between us called Nigerians. There's nothing called one people. That's what this situation is showing clearly.
Yeah, because even schools, you see, they say schools, tertiary, parents of tertiary institutions are arranging bus to go and carry their children. So it feels like a lot of people have been left behind, and they're spending money.
Yeah.
The Britons have got to evacuate their own people. The Americans, the same. The Yemenis, the Saudis, and several other nationals. So, and we that are closer, we're supposed to be maybe 2-3 hours flight from, say, Lagos or Abuja or Borno to Sudan or whatever.
Wherever they're going to land.
But then we've not even been able to send flights, and we've not even been, and even the man Air Peace offered to send flights to go and pick them, but nobody was even taking him on his offer.
Yeah, because he's Igbo man.
Yeah. So does it mean that the lives of people should be politicized, or people should, or the government should actually wake up and know that their responsibility is to the people
all so-called Nigerians, because the Yorubas there reckon that they are Nigerians, because they are in a foreign country. They carry Nigerian passport. Yeah. Therefore, they should not be discriminated against. That type of situation happened in Saudi Arabia some years back, when late president who died in office rescued Northerners only and left the Southerners. This is a story that will be told later. They were arrested illegally, and when he went there for his normal, I don't know how it is called, prayers, representations was even said to him that You have some of your people in prison here. And then he talked to the leaders of those ones who were in the prison. All the ones from the north were rescued. The ones from the south were left.
We are left behind.
Yes.
What a sad situation. Baba Jala, that's okay. I'll allow you finish your statement.
This is the situation of the population, the people, and the lack of commonality that we claim to exist. We are not one.
Yeah.
And we have
even a lot of people always thought the British left a united Nigeria. They never governed Nigeria as one entity. Even after the amalgamation. After the amalgamation, it was still two countries or one country, two systems. It was not the same system.
And if I will quickly read the mind of later Madu Bello at Tafawa Balewa during the conference when the British warned us that we are going, it is our country that is keeping you together. Balewa answered and said, which is summarized and said, we are proceeding with 4 whereases. It was resolved by the North to virtually break up the federation. Each region, they had said, will have its own defense, its own external affairs, its own customs, its own research institutions, and there will be no central legislative body. There will be only a custom union. They did not want Nigeria. It is us that are.
It's us who have been claiming and dying.
Prime Minister of Nigeria talking at the conference in 1953.
Thank you very much, Baba Jala. That's the much we can take for today.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll be back again next week with exciting topics on matters arising as it affects our everyday life. Thank you and see you again soon.
lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́ làbẹ̀wò kúkú dùkú lóko Podium International wọ́n ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ látìgbà tí wọ́n ti ń bàbọ̀ wọn ò fìgbà kan tẹ́rì o wọ́n ti wá ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbé bẹ̀bẹ̀ dé Podium Cinema ni wọ́n tún gbé dé Podium Cinema lórí YouTube ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn kẹ́ ẹ subscribe ibẹ̀ lẹ́tì mọ̀ wọ àwọn àjẹ́ àbálẹ̀ fíìmù ẹ̀dọ̀kí